Alright, hello everyone, hope you're all well, hope you're all staying safe. In today's video, I am once again going to be doing an episode of This Week in No Man's Sky. This is a little series where I try and talk about the week's events in No Man's Sky in a much more informal manner with a lot less editing, a lot less jump cuts, mostly to give my opinion on it and to discuss it in a little bit more of a podcast-esque style of videos. So today there's a little bit to talk about, and I mostly want to focus on two very specific things. The first thing which I want to focus on are the community missions, or the one community mission which we currently have, and then I also want to talk about how this community mission ties in with a potential combat update, how I feel about this, how the community feels about it, all of that good stuff. I will say in advance, I do apologise if I stumble more so than usual. It is very early. It's 8:52 at the moment. I've gotten up especially early to do recording, so I'm a little bit half asleep, and I do apologise if I do sound like I'm a little bit of a zombie. I probably will wake up as the video goes along, but I don't have a lot of time, so yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to power through it. Anyway, so I want to start off by talking about the weekly missions in No Man's Sky. Now, for a start, I'm really happy that weekly missions have seen a return to No Man's Sky. I always liked weekly missions prior to us having them now. When we had them before, we usually had them on one single planet. This is something which I would like to see return, especially with cross-platform multiplayer. I think that'd be very interesting, because at the moment, I know for a fact that the planet I went to for the weekly mission was not the same as, say, the Procedural Traveller's planet that he went to in his weekly mission. And I'm not entirely sure why there are, unique different planets for each person that seems to do it. But I didn't finish the quest line in the first sitting. I had to go back, restart it from the beginning, because obviously your progress is not saved, and I went through the portal and went on to the exact same planet. So it's not like it's random. There is clearly a planet that is kind of like assigned to you, and I'm not really sure why this is the case rather than just one big community planet, because I liked one big community planet, So weekly missions, yeah, they're a nice addition. I'm really happy that they're back, and I'm really glad that Hello Games have decided to put additional story content in it as well, mostly from Greg, which we know about. One of the writers of Atlas Rises has done a lot of the script writing for these weekly missions, and they're a good read. Very interesting lore, which I'll get onto in just a second. But the missions themselves are great. It does tie us over as a community while we are waiting for something bigger. My guess is that when these community missions do end, there will be some kind of a reveal, or maybe the actual summer update dropping. It could be a little bit of both. I feel like either way, at the end of the weekly missions, we are going to receive something. This is usually, in the past, what weekly missions have done. They've been there to kind of guide us to this endpoint, and when it's all over, we get like a reward of sorts. And I think this time our reward is going to be information on the summer update, maybe like a trailer, maybe even a in-game ARG. I know a lot of people have spoken about this, and I think a lot of people would really like it, myself included. I miss Waking Titan, alright, I'm just gonna say it. Waking Titan was fucking fantastic, and it really did bring the community together. It was a time of so much excitement and optimism. I really wish we could have something similar again. And the thing is, we did Waking Titan outside of No Man's Sky. We did it as an alternate reality game, because No Man's Sky did not have proper multiplayer at that point in time. And the thing is, now that No Man's Sky has multiplayer, and it also has crossplay, I really do hope that Hello Games utilise that and put like a Waking Titan in-game to No Man's Sky. Maybe we have to go to certain planets or certain coordinates, and all of it leads to like this one big final reveal like Waking Titan did. That would be cool. I don't know if that's possible, but that would be really fucking cool. Maybe these community missions are the closest thing we'll get to that, and I do believe that this is kind of like a smaller ARG, mostly because of the additional story content which we did not have before. So it's quite suggestive, 100%. But yeah, the weekly missions are nice. I'm excited to play them. I'm not entirely sure how many there are going to be, but I know for a fact, as stated by Hello Games in their development update, that this will lead to something bigger, so it is incredibly exciting. Now, I want to also talk a little bit about the combat update. So, my video, I don't know when this will be uploaded, so I can't exactly say, but my video looking into the weekly mission lore, I basically stated that a lot of the text seems to refer to a new enemy, to combat, to a threat, and all of this could potentially suggest some kind of combat overhaul, or maybe like an antagonist that we will be fighting in the summer update. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this now. I just want to give my thoughts on it, because in that video I kind of just delivered the information and didn't really say much else. So I want to give my thoughts and talk about it just a little bit. So, believe me, I 100% believe that there will be a main antagonist added to No Man's Sky. In this video which I'm talking about, this creature is called the Abyss, and again, like, I'm really unfamiliar with No Man's Sky lore. I know the absolute bare minimum, and that is about it. But the Abyss is essentially like the opposite to the Atlas. So the Atlas is the heart of the simulation. No Man's Sky's universe is a simulation, okay? There you go. Like, spoilers, I know, spoilers, but I think everyone and their nan knows that No Man's Sky has a simulated universe at this point in time. So the Atlas is like the heart of that, and the Abyss is argued to be like the complete opposite. So the thing that is trying to shut down the simulation and wreak havoc, rather than, you know, keeping it alive and yeah, acting as like the life support of it as such. Now, the Abyss also is stated to have some mind control, particularly with the Korvax. So they are, according to the lore, potentially allowed to control the minds of Korvax. So the story could revolve around trying to reclaim the Korvax and restore order. I think this would be the most likely story for us if we were to have the Abyss as the enemy in the combat update. Maybe even, and this is something which I considered after I made that video, maybe the Abyss takes over every single race in No Man's Sky, so the Gek, the Viking, the Korvax, and forces them to fight each other. It's like an artificial civil war, you know? Like, I get it, they don't get on, but at least in the game at the moment, they don't really seem to be fighting each other like they used to, say, years ago, according to the lore. Maybe the Abyss really does take each race, get inside their head, and make them fight each other. As a traveller, we have to choose who we potentially side with. Maybe we have to side with one of them whilst we're also trying to battle the Abyss. Maybe we get chucked into this all-out war between the races, and we're kind of forced to go along with it, whilst also obviously trying to shut down the Abyss. I mean, that's just a theory, right? A game theory. Nah, get fucked. That is just a theory. And again, like, lore, not my thing. So I don't know if that has any kind of like credibility whatsoever. But especially if you want to link it to, say, like, all-out war, you know, faction wars, which people still talk about to this day. You know, quite a famous missing No Man's Sky feature are those all-out space battles and being able to, you know, side with certain races and target other races and shit like that. This would be a fantastic idea to implement that. We are forced to choose one of them, and we have to go with them, and going with them means that we have to fight the others that are left. I think it'd be quite cool. And it's weird as well, because like, I don't even really like the story of No Man's Sky that much. I say I don't like it, I just don't understand it. and I've never really put the time into going on the wiki or watching Orbit's lore videos. But what I'm trying to say is that like the story content for me is not a big priority. Likewise with combat as well. Like all out wars, that's not really what I want. And it comes back to this general argument which a lot of people bring up when people talk about a combat update, is the fact that yes, No Man's Sky does need some improvements to combat, but it doesn't need to become a violent game, because No Man's Sky is not that. No Man's Sky at its heart is an exploration game. It obviously has the combat pillar, but making combat a bigger focus than say procedural generation, that would be really fucking stupid. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think Hello Games would do that. In fact, I think for this update, we're going to have variety and combat. I think that would make the most amount of sense. I really do wish it was variety. I just think at the moment there is more evidence to show that it is combat related. The weekly mission lore is so suggestive, and I've even seen a couple screenshots that have been sent to me on Twitter where the Korvax sometimes in space talk about their minds being controlled by something. So essentially my theory could have been right. Like, I'm not trying to suck myself off, but there's potential. Also, crossplay. Crossplay is now in No Man's Sky, so we can now play with every platform available for No Man's Sky. And I said in another one of my videos that usually with content additions, Hello Games have been working on something bigger alongside it, but choose to release it early. Crossplay, I believe, is one of those points. I feel like crossplay was a part of a bigger update, potentially this summer update. Likewise with the Exomech as well. I think they were both part of something a lot bigger. But crossplay right now, like, yeah, okay, it's cool. Like, you can play with friends on other platforms and shit. But like at the end of the day, right, it's still No Man's Sky. You know, it's still the same No Man's Sky. Even without crossplay or with crossplay, it's the same game. Crossplay has to have something to go alongside it to make it a worthwhile feature. Because if we don't have interesting planets to explore or a common enemy to fight, then crossplay is really just wasted opportunity. I get it, it can be seen as like a foundation, you know, it could just be added now and then content is added on top, and I think that is probably what's going to happen. But a point was made which I find really interesting as well, saying that crossplay makes a lot of sense if we consider that the combat update introduces a general threat or an antagonist. Maybe we have to combine our forces across all platforms in order to fight off this threat. Maybe the threat is too large for us to do on a single platform. You know, that can be lore related as well. That'd actually be quite interesting. Likewise with the Exomech as well, and maybe even large scale battles. Everything seems to be leading to this one central point. This point that we now have a unified community of No Man's Sky, and it's actually quite poetic if you think about it, especially since, you know, No Man's Sky started off as like this shit heap of a game that had to get its subreddit quarantined because it was so fucked from criticism, and now we have every platform the game is released on all playing together. You know, it's really poetic and slightly brings a tear to my eye. You know, it's cute as fuck. But the point is, whilst bringing everyone together, there has to be a reason to do that. It's not just like, okay, here it is, that's it. You know, there's nothing to play with, there's no new threat, no new story, like whatever, I don't fucking know. But I feel like there's going to be more. So yeah, to give my 2 cents on combat, yes, I think combat does need improving. I'm not going to disregard that in the slightest. And I also do think, yes, there should be an antagonist or a general threat. You know, to feel like you're working towards something, because that's what No Man's Sky is lacking. You know, a pressing goal that everyone has. I mean, you have the galactic core, but that shit is completely pointless. And other than the galactic core, I mean, what else do you have? What, farming, getting loads of money and then spending it on multi-tools so you can mine more? Like, there needs to be another loop, and I think an antagonist would be that other loop. I don't know how it would quite work in terms of gameplay, but knowing that there's like this big threat out there kind of pushes you to play, rather than being like, oh, I'm just gonna have a little ploddle down to the fucking galactic core, I can take my time, maybe stop for a cup of tea on the way. Like, there's no urgency. So yeah, I think a combat update would be great. Do I want it, like, at this present point in time? No, I don't. I want fucking variety. That's what I want. I'm tired of saying it, but I think it's actually more possible than you think that variety will come coupled with a combat update. Maybe Hello Games, if this update really is big, are going to bash out the final 2 areas of improvement, just kind of pop them together and form this beautiful love child. Maybe this is like the final big update for No Man's Sky, and it does tackle combat and variety in one. And then from this point onwards, Hello Games can focus on other areas of the game. Other areas of the game that the community aren't necessarily crying out for, and they themselves as developers want to spend time on. So you can tell I've woken up because I don't sound like a fucking idiot anymore. Just gonna have a little sip of coffee. Damn girl, black coffee every fucking day. I don't get people that drink white coffee. You can't do that shit. You need the strongest, purest caffeine in your blood. Alright guys, yeah, I think that just about does it for this week in No Man's Sky. Again, apologies for sounding like a bit of a fucking zombie at the beginning. But you know, shit happens. What can you do about it? I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. As always guys, check out my Discord and my Patreon, both of which will be in the description. Let me know what you think as well on the matter. Do you want a combat update? Would you rather fuck me, would you rather a variety update or any other kind of update? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. I love you all. See you all soon.